After you see tonight's 2 News investigation, you will likely be asking the same question our Pam Elliott did.
How can that be right in 2014? How can that be okay? How can that just be going on?
Well, the answer is it's not right. Not only is it not right, it's illegal.
Yes, illegal, but happening every day. People denied basic services we take for granted.
Pam Elliott of 2 News Investigates asked, why is it still being allowed to happen?
I started asking questions after a Dayton man with limited sight showed me the efforts he'd made to get his own personal information in a print he could read. I soon found out those with disabilities are often ignored more than 2 decades after the Americans with Disabilities Act took effect.
Carl Farley Jr. was the victim of a crime in 2004. His case is closed now after the suspect pleaded guilty. But it's not over for Farley. He's on his way to the Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office to again ask for documents relevant to his case. Documents that he can actually read. Farley is legally blind. He can see objects and colors, but not much else unless the words in front of him are big enough.
I don't get the majority of what I require, and it's aggravating.
When we met Farley at the Dayton Montgomery County Court building, he showed us how courtroom signs are difficult to read, and there's no way for him to distinguish between the men's and women's restrooms.
If there's not raised, the only thing that you can feel is no smoking.
We made sure Court Administrator Ann Murray saw the problem.
It's been really an emotional roller coaster for me.
Well, I want to thank you for bringing it to our attention.
This is a focused Braille display.
Chaim Siegel has been blind from birth. He's able to work at Sinclair Community College because Sinclair provides him the software he needs to assist students over the phone.
For example, I can control the keyboard with Braille.
But Siegel can't get Vectren and Dayton Power and Light to provide him bills in Braille, something he got from utility companies in the Chicago area 16 years ago.
They don't understand that even if there is only 1 or 2 customers that need it, that a person with a disability must be provided accommodation.
And that is what the law says. The Americans with Disabilities Act addresses communications this way. A public entity and a public accommodation must provide auxiliary aids, which include brailled materials and large print materials. Furthermore, Vectren and DP&L receive federal money to provide home energy assistance programs, so they are required to provide equal access, according to the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which predates the ADA. Government offices and utilities might think they are accommodating those who are visually impaired by having someone read their information to them. But that's not something they can file and revisit.
If sighted people can have access to this personal information in writing, in hard copy writing, then blind people should be able to have access to it also.
2 News Investigates found records that indicate for years the Ohio Consumers Council has been urging Vectren to provide bills in Braille. But the state commission, which regulates the utility companies, has let Vectren off the hook because it would be, quote, cost prohibitive. The president of Vectren Energy Delivery Ohio told me the company has been offering bills in large print since 2007.
But if you can't see at all, that's not going to help you at large print.
That is true. I'm assuming that most people that are like that perhaps have some caregiver or somebody to help them. So again, we haven't had a lot of requests for a Braille bill.
But it's not about numbers. It's about people's rights. Remember, when Siegel was living in Chicago in the late 90s, he was getting Braille bills. We got a sample bill from Commonwealth Edison.
For information purposes only.
ComEd says it spends $400 a month to provide Braille bills to nearly 120 customers.
When a service isn't provided that could be, that I've actually seen done in other communities, it makes me feel that my customership isn't valued.
Vectren said it is changing print vendors this year and will look at providing Braille bills. For weeks, we asked for a response from Dayton Power and Light. Just hours before our story was to air, we finally got an email statement. It reads, in part, DP&L accommodates customers with disabilities whenever possible. It never addresses why it doesn't provide Braille bills. You can read the whole statement on WDTN.com. Pam Elliott, 2 News Investigates.